So just 115 of these were built. What is it? Keep watching the video to find out. So welcome to Lotus 76 Cars. My name's Simon and today we're at the Silverstone Festival 2023 and this is the second video. So please check out the first video if you've not seen it already. I hope you enjoyed the show and the cars we're about to see. So Robert Yankel had a company called Panther Cars that produced vehicles down in Byfleet in Surrey. One of the first ones, you probably recognise this is a Panther Lima. The Limas were with glass fibre bodies. You'll recognise probably the doors, I think, are midget doors. Later cars, the car was then called Callista. It's a subtle difference, but the Callista is switched to aluminium. Although it used a range originally of Vauxhall engines, then a Ford 2.9 and I think 1.6 engines as well. It's quite a rare car these days, although they do have a good survival rate. And we've got a later one here as well, often with two-tone paintwork. Got a very thriving owners club, seen many of these cars at shows despite their small number, but an impressive hand-built, very rare little sports coupe. So at the top of the Panther range, I think in the 70s, is the J72. Now you might recognise the J72 because it bears an uncanny resemblance to the SS Jaguar from earlier days. SS standing for Swallow Sidecars. J72 is the incredible car, obviously altogether much bigger than the Limas and Callistas. I think these were built, hand-built cars, but built in very, very small numbers as well. Probably the closest you could get to a then modern day Jaguar SS, I think. Beautiful condition, isn't it? So these are Aston Martin V8s with a production run that started out as the DBS. You probably remember Roger Moore drove a V6 engine, very early car back in the day. These are, to me, what makes Aston Martin really special. You know, those big fat tyres of the period. Look at the size of the rims. They're 15-inch rims, believe it or not. 15-inch rims really is a gentleman, or ladies, if you like, cruiser. Both of them. This is an earlier car here. The silver one's an earlier car. The red one's a later car, but absolutely stunning nevertheless. And completing the trilogy here, we've got this fabulous blue one as well. Absolutely amazing cars, aren't they? Really special. And where would we be without an Aston Martin DB6 or two? Fantastic to see these here. And this, I'm assuming, might be a DB2. I'll have to correct myself on that one. DB on all of these standing for David Brown. David Brown owned Aston Martin for many years, rescued it from financial oblivion, and then forever until this day the DB initials have always been denoted for the models. They've been used ever since. Fabulous car. So this was one of Aston Martin's pretty successful model. It's the Virage model, and it's the Virage Volante. Volante obviously being the convertible. Quite an impressive looking design. It's sort of dated, I guess, to the period. Right, answers on a postcard please are in the comments about those rear tail lights. Now I think those rear tail lights are from a VW Santana. Now I could be wrong, maybe they're from something else, but if you know that, please put me out of my misery and let me know in the comments. So from TVR's Wedge period is this Tamsin, I'm guessing, fixed head. I do like that Wedge period of their styling. To some people prefer that to the softer cars from the later ownership during Peter Wheeler's times. Incredible car, so of its time, so 80s. Love that panel at the back. Can you see the clear glass panel there where you've got additional visibility from the back of the car? Wow, that's quite something, isn't it? So this is a TVR, I think it's a Grand Tourer, probably either that or a 3000S if it's a later car. Not quite sure about that one. The one thing I am certain of, and don't cheat here, What are those rear lights from? Yeah, those. Where did they come from? Any guesses? Well, I reckon they're from a Mark II Cortina. So there's another one here, almost an identical looking car with those later, I think they're Wolf Race alloys. If you want a later car, one of the most successful periods is when TVR sort of brought back this type of shape. This is the V8S. And they brought back this shape later, I think as an entry model to the series. And this is one of them. And I think it sold quite well with a 2.8, 2.9 Ford engine initially. So if you want practical in the TVR family, you've got the Sibera, incredible car, quite a long wheelbase looking at these. We've got a fabulous collection of these. We've also got, I think that's a Cigaris later. Wow. There is some incredible looking TVRs here today. The club's really turned out a fabulous collection of cars here. Right the way through. I think at the end we've got a Griffith as well. Wow. And there is almost every colour under the sun, and some colours that keep changing under the sun, like the one we saw a little bit earlier on. Great. Jaguar owners represented with this XK. XK 140 as well. This is a Series 2 because it loses a light cover Series 2 fixed head coupe. Either a Series 1.5 or probably a Series 2 E-Type as well. And to top the lot off, a Series 3 car with the V12. Towards the end of production, that will be a 74, and I think production finished in 75 and gave way to the XJS. So here's the Alpine 110 from 1974, the original A110, and just over there we've got the new version, the A110S, the Enstone edition, so-called named after the headquarters of the Alpine F1 team. Really puts into comparison what they managed with this car. Originally a joint venture with Caterham that didn't work. Renault continued on their own with the Alpine and came up with this automatic only, very lightweight, and handling wise apparently a handling benchmark. So we're going to take a look at some of the rarest cars here on display at Silverstone. Cars that are some of the highlighted by the Daily Telegraph newspaper as some of the fewest surviving in the UK. So the Proton was the fastest growing new car brand the UK had ever seen, built in Malaysia based on a previous design from Mitsubishi, including Mitsubishi engines, originally with I think 8 valve engines and then 12 valve. This brand grew, I think, sold something like 15,000 cars in the first 6 months or so of being on sale. And then faded away. By 2013 they pretty much gone from the market. So this is the Proton, I think it was called the Saga, but great value for money and gave sort of Japanese engineering a fraction of the price. Long way to successor to the Cortina, still rear wheel drive, met with some resistance at launch. Is the Sierra, launched at the 82 Motor Show at the NEC. This one looks like a very early car, got the very early grille that was discontinued at the facelift. If you look at the interior, it's got that of its time interior. It's got a dashboard that doesn't seem split, which is incredible for a Sierra of this period. Here in a beige, don't you just love it? That is fantastic, and it's proudly saying that it is a 4-speed. Well, hail the 4-speed, fantastic. A brilliant Honda Accord 1.6 EX automatic. This one's for sale. I think £6,500 will buy you this beauty. Again, seldom seen. I might have seen this car at a recent Footman James event. Looking at it, to be honest with you, it's in fantastic order. I'm pretty sure that's the same car. Again, a rare one. The Hondas of that period don't tend to survive so well. So this russet brown Morris Ital is called Ivan. Now this car was the last car to bear the Morris name. The styling house Ital design did have something to do with it, but I think it was far less than you would imagine, but they used the name. when they came up with the successor to the Marina. Now apparently there are just 6 of these left. It is not a Passat, but it's a VW Santana, which was the booted version of the Passat. Looks very comfortable in there, doesn't it? Quite well appointed. Again, you don't see too many Passats of this age, never mind VW Santanas. And there we have it. So here we've got a 1975 Wolseley 1822 series, 1822 denoting the engine series of the range from 1.8 to 2.2. It's got the Wolseley feature of the badge that lights up in the grille, which is a traditional Wolseley feature. Interesting with this car, as I say, there's sort of half a dozen of these left. They only produced it for 9 months, and then this was the last car to bear the Wolseley brand, and then they dropped it and continued with Aston and with Morris, but Wolseley was gone. Incredible, and incredible to see that here today. Successor to the Harrisman designed Wedge was the Aston Ambassador. Not before time this car got a hatchback. There's about 14 of these left. I believe this is opaline green or something like this. I've seen a Maestro in a similar colour. Wow, it's pretty rare to see these here today. This is the only one. Love the colour, love the car, so of its time, isn't it? So bringing four-wheel drive to the masses, Toyota introduced this four-wheel drive estate called the Toyota Tercel. Sold this officially in the UK by Toyota GB, and apparently there are just 9 of these left. And yeah, the wheels are originally white. They were painted white rather than silver, so it's as true to the original brochure spec as you can probably get. So apparently there are only 15 left of this Hillman Hunter GLS, probably not all in such a bright colour as this one. That's incredible. Next to it we've got a fabulous Fiat Uno, not a Punto but an Uno, a far earlier car, looks like an 86. It's in fabulous order. There are apparently relatively few of these left as well. I'm not sure the exact number, I'll have to check that out and try and put that on screen. Wow. When's the last time you saw one of these? Not recently, I bet. Now, we've seen this Renault 20 TX before. If you watch my Bromley pageant video, I had an interview with the owner. Now, you're talking about rare. This must be about as rare as you can get, almost. It's one of 2 Renault 20 TXs in the UK. This one's been in the family since new. It's in fabulous order. The 20 had the single headlamp, which denoted the fact it was the 4-cylinder car. The 30 used the same body, but it was a 6-cylinder car. But this one, the owner has kept it, or certainly got it to a fabulous level of order. That's brilliant, isn't it? And rare. So a rare Lancia. Lancia went off sale in the UK many years ago, but this is the booted version of the Beta, and it's a Lancia Trevi. Now, apparently, there's one of these survives, and this is it. So what you're seeing here is the full UK population of Lancia Trevis. Wow. Let's savour that one in. I think this had this very strange dash. I don't know if you can see it through the window here, but it's got a really strange looking dash with a series of circles where all the buttons are. Really weird, difficult to describe, but fabulous to see this one here today, isn't it? And as I said, it's the last one out there. So this is one of 4 surviving Nissan Prairie anniversaries. So Nissan Prairie was a very useful MPV from Nissan, had a sliding rear door, extremely loved by the customers who bought these. But again, you know, they're pretty rare. Boxy shape really works if you want to transport things or transport a family around. Great to see that here today, absolutely great. So believe it or not, the Citroën BX Estate was taken off the line as a hatchback and converted the back part of the body by coach building company Huliers in France. Now this is an early Mark 1 car. This one is truly a survivor as well. There are apparently a few more of these. There are about, in terms of BXs, there's quite a few survivors, but apparently Mark 1 Estates, this is the only one. Can that be true? If you've got one, please comment. So this Audi 100 GL, I think from 72, is one of something like I think 17 around, so it's a bit more popular. In rare terms, this is positively ubiquitous. What a beautiful car in that green. Love those period chrome spats on the wheels as well. Coincidentally, there's also 17 left of these Wartburg Knights. Now these are a two-stroke engine, so run on a mix of petrol and oil, and this one is in superb order, officially imported into the UK and sold as a budget car pre-Lada days, and this one survived really well. Love that plastic interior, that very simple dash, and again, you're unlikely to see too many of these. I know the OG channel on YouTube owns one of these as well. So Mitsubishi had the booted version of the Colt Turbo for sale in the UK. I'm not sure it was called Lancia at this stage. Again, I haven't seen too many of these. How many left of these? Well, they made 400 and 42 survive. So I may well see another one at some stage. Look at the front script and you can see how the it's a mirror image of 2000 Turbo, so that when you saw it in your rear mirror, you'd know to move out of the way. You know that you were being followed by a Lancia 2000 Turbo. Isn't that great? Supplied by dealer of Slatters of Abergele is a P10 Primera. This was Nissan's first real stab at the market, replacing the Bluebird. Built in the UK. I think we've seen this car at Festival of the Unexceptional. Not quite sure how many are left, but as the owner said, not that many, and I'm sure he's probably right. So you can see the brochure there. It's a Toyota Carina liftback by Toyota, of course, 1979. Doesn't say how many of these there are, but you know, I haven't seen another one, to be honest with you. Sold in relatively small numbers. Then Japanese cars were subject to what's called the gentleman's agreement, which limited volume. Fabulous to see that here today. Let's have a gratuitous look at the liftback, which gives the car its name, of course. That hatchback, not hatchback, but liftback. Fabulous. So fitted with Toyo Glide, which is their automatic transmission, is this 2600 Crown Coupe. I think we may well have seen this car at Bromley Pageant. We're just competing with a lot of the racing that's going on in the background here. This one, I believe it was restored by the current owner and his father up to a certain point, but what a brilliant looking car. Love those features, love those lights, how they're built into the indicators built into that strip, and it forms part of the features of the car, and those recessed grills with the lights partially hidden away. Oh, I'm liking that one, and I'm liking that one quite a lot, folks, I must admit. So this apparently is the single surviving example of a dealer special edition, probably done by a group of 4 dealers, and it's the Cortina Mark V Huntsman, and it's the only one in the UK, and it is here today. Isn't that a rare one? Lovely condition, this one as well. Yeah, it's got the Huntsman's badge has been added there. The original dealer sticker for Seaway in Medway, I'm not sure if they still exist. It's got a tow bar, and it looks like it might have been based on the GL, looking at the trim. But great to see that here today. My God, is that in superb condition. Brilliant. So the Allegro estate had a very, very short lifespan. In Series 1, somebody just mentioned to me it was about 100 days. That styling on the side, I think Richard Hammond doesn't like these that much, but then again, does that really mean anything? So apparently there are 267 Allegros surviving from the period of the Series 1 cars, but I bet there's not many of the estates around. With the original grille, it's a P registered, so what's that, 75? Got that early grille on the car as well there. Yeah, you're not going to see too many of those as estate cars for sure. So there are 6 of these left. It's not a Mark 14 Granada, but it did evolve into that. Initially it used the Consul name, which was the bottom one of the range. I think this is just a Consul, not even the Consul L. That is a stunning car. Honestly, that's probably one of my favourite cars I've seen here today. Doesn't that look incredible condition? Absolute true survivor, isn't it? So fabulous Renault 8 Gordinis. We've got the Mark II car here, and we've got the Mark 1 car here. These are fabulous, aren't they? This iconic blue livery with the stripes on the top. These look amazing looking little cars, quite quick for their day, relatively speaking. Both obviously rear mounted engines, as you expect. Quite special, and to see a Mark 1 and a Mark 2 together, that's a bit of a lesson for us there. Fabulous. So it might look like a Lotus Elan that has been customised. It's not, and it's not actually a kit car. It is a series production Evante. This is a Series 2 car, the red one, and this is a Series 1 car. In total, just 115 or so produced, 100 of the Series 1 car, 15 or so of the Series 2. Uses a Ford block with a Lotus designed twin cam head, built in Lincolnshire, in Spalding. Actually, I remember these back in the day. You know, it's got those fabulous pop-up lights, so we can get a shot of that twin cam engine here as well. You also see there are subtle differences between the cars in terms of the styling. I've been schooled on some of the parts where they've come from, so you can see the back end of the Series 1 car. Can you guess the rear lights where they're from? Okay, yes, it's from a TR7, whereas the lights on this one are from a VW Golf. Nevertheless, such a rare car. And said there's 115 and there's 2 of them here today. Great to see them. Fabulous looking cars. Beautiful example of an early Alfa Romeo GTV. Again, ergonomics for Italians, but nevertheless lovely to see one of these. Jeremy Clarkson owns one of these, and I think it's one of his favourite cars, so I'm not sure whether that's good or bad, but this one's lovely. So Alfa Romeo, under state ownership, needed a replacement for the Giulietta model and came up with the Alfa 75 to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the company. But what they did is they chose to reuse the doors from the Giulietta by putting this cladding over at the top, which continued all the way around the car. So although it might look like a styling feature, it's there for a reason, basically to disguise that the doors were saved from the previous model as a cost-saving measure. Wow. Based on the 105 series Alfa Juniors is this Alfa Romeo Zagato. So basically the car was given to Zagato and the normal panel is actually cut away. It's got some incredible styling features with the Zagato. Look at that Perspex front, hiding the lamps and those small indicator units, the Alfa shield. Some interesting features here. Look how the bonnet line has been adapted to take account for the fact how much the wiper sticks up. And although it's not a proper hatchback, the rear hatch opens for ventilation. What a car. So we're in the Lotus area. We've got a GT3 Esprit late car. We got a Series 2 Elise. We've got, I think, an Exige. We've got an Evora, which finished production a few years ago. We've got a Mark 1 Elise, and we've also got a Lotus Europa. Next to it, a lovely Elan. Wow, it goes on, and an early, very early Lotus Elite by the look of that one. So on the Mercedes Club stand, so let's pick out some glorious cars here. We've got this I think treble 1 coupe. I think it's probably a 280 SE. Absolutely lovely car, one of a pair that's here today on the club stand. Doesn't it look so elegant in that old English white? It's a 280 SE, but badged 3.5 litre. What a stunning car, right from its body coloured wheel caps. It's absolutely lovely, isn't it? So next up we've got a Mercedes 190e from 1990. This in fact is my own car, so I know it pretty well, in Ascot Grey. The 190 is celebrating its 40th anniversary of UK sales. It went on sale in 1983. This particular car is a facelifted car. celebrated an incredible 60 years since it went on sale. This W113 so-called Pagoda series Mercedes. What a place to celebrate it at the Silverstone Festival. This car's an absolutely superb looking example, isn't it? In this lovely green colour. Absolutely in fantastic order, isn't it? So thanks again for joining me at the Silverstone Festival 2023. Hope you've enjoyed the show and the cars we've seen. Please like, share, subscribe, turn on notifications to be notified of my latest video, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.